Kain was murdered, and given a chance to kill his assassins by Moebius the Necromancer. The price of this, however, is that he would be birthed back into the world not as a human, but instead upon a vampiric guise.
They victors, suffering to the conquered. Ironic that now I was the one suffering. Not anything as pedestrian as physical pain, rather the cruel jab of impotent anger. The hunger for revenge. I didn't care if I was in heaven or hell. All I wanted was to kill my assassins. Sometimes you get what you wish for. The necromancer Moebius offered me a chance for vengeance, and like a fool, I jumped at his offer without considering the cost. Nothing is free, not even revenge.
You will have the blood you hunger for.
Acquiring his revenge, Moebius tells Kain that the true culprits of his murder are at the Pillars of Nosgoth.
Their sneering faces were forever etched upon my memory. I had crossed death for this moment. My mind was empty save for one thought. I would kill. There is no greater relief than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
'Tis not over, Kain. These fools were merely the instruments of your murder, not the cause. Look to their masters, look to the pillars, and gain way to the fortress of the mind.
Ariel, the former Balance Guardian, tells Kain that the Guardians of the Pillars are infected by Nupraptors' madness. She says that Kain must kill them, and return the relics that connect them to their respective pillars.
Nupraptor, your madness has shattered our dreams and blinded you.
Keep your distance, or I'll send you back to hell, spirit!
There is nothing left of me to fear, vampire. I'm only a shadow of my former self, Ariel, the balance of the Circle of Nine. Even so, I can provide the answers you seek.
I seek only a cure.
There is no cure for death, only release. You must destroy the sorcery that is now poisoning Nosgoth. Only then will you realize peace. The 9 of the Protectors of Hope were sworn to use their powers to preserve our world. Now these pillars have been corrupted by a traitor. My murder at the hands of this beast drove my love Nupraptor mad. Now he spreads misery and pain among the Circle, crumbling the very foundation of Nosgoth. You must restore balance. You must right the pillars of Nosgoth.
I care not for the fate of this world.
Then for yourself, Kain. Beware the unspoken.
Nupraptor, with his blind act of vengeance, threatened to destroy all of Nosgoth. Each Circle member was bonded to the pillar he served. The pillars reflected the mental state of their servants, and as the minds of the Circle degenerated and descended farther into dementia, the pillars crumbled. To restore them, each member of the Circle had to die, and the artifact that served as their link to the pillar had to be returned. Only when all the pillars were restored did Ariel claim my curse would end. And so, my hunt for Nupraptor began.
Kain travels to Nupraptor's keep to cleanse the Pillar of the Mind. From a servant girl he learns that the murder of Ariel, Nupraptor's lover, was the catalyst for his insanity, as he despaired for her loss.
I came upon one of Nupraptor's serving girls, catatonic with fear, choking out half-words through bloodied, broken teeth. Although tempted by hunger, I stayed my hand, allowing her to tell her story. She spoke of her lord Nupraptor, driven to insanity by the brutal slaying of his beloved Ariel. She spoke of his self-mutilation, sewing his eyes and lips shut to deny the outside world. Fueled by despair and hopelessness, he turned his magic on the circle, infecting their minds with his madness. Nupraptor cared for nothing now, save his pathetic self-pity. Scars such as hers would never heal. Death would only be a mercy.
Nupraptor dismisses Malek. Upon the slaying of Nupraptor, Kain returns his head to the Pillar of the Mind as its offering. He then sets out to kill the Guardian of Conflict, Malek, before confronting the rest.
So, Malek, have you come to fail the circle once more? Leave, Paladin. I do not need your protection. Come, Kain. Come, share my pain.
So, this was the mentalist Nupraptor, this broken, pathetic little man. Yet crippled as he was, he would not yield without battle. Very well, old fool. If it is death you seek, I will not deny you. Perhaps the head of her beloved will convince Ariel that I have accomplished my task. I placed Nupraptor's head before the Pillar of the Mind, and watched on as it dissolved into the stone. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus it was restored.
Nupraptor was but the genesis. Forever tainted by his madness, the circle was beyond redemption. For them, absolution lay only in death. In me, they would find their deliverance. But first I had to defeat their shepherd. Malek, defender of the Nine, lay in a keep to the far north, past Vassabunt. It was time for me to test the wrath of the Pillar of Conflict.
Death in the circle breathes life to the pillars. For every pillar there is a token. Only with these shall they be restored. But to reach a warrior, you must first breach his ward. Find Malek and destroy him. Only then will the circle fall.
Struggling his way across a barren land with little life to sustain him, Kain made his way through Malek's stronghold.
My eyes yearned from lack of contrast. My mouth ached for want of blood. In this cold wasteland food was scarce, and my hunger grew. The guards at the gate offered no resistance. They were frozen solid, and dead as they stood, their flesh welded to the cold metal of their armor.
Failing to kill Malek and forced to retreat, Kain seeks knowledge and a way to destroy him from Ariel. She sends Kain off to seek the Oracle for aid in his plight.
Save Victor! Save Victor!
It would seem Malek's destiny with my blade was postponed. Perhaps Ariel could offer further guidance.
Ah, the Lord returns empty-handed. Does the Seraphim elude you? Very well, go east of Malek's bastion. The Oracle shall give you aid.
The Oracle of Nosgoth speaks to Kain of Malek, and tells him he must locate Vorador, for he had defeated Malek once before.
A nobleman? Seeking wisdom? Death has taught you well.
Enough philosophy. I seek answers.
Answers indeed. I have them all if you have the questions. And what are the questions for these answers? King Atmar, the only hope to defeat the legions of the Nemesis. King Atmar, paralyzed by his princess's malaise. King Atmar, the useless. Pray, good sir, what are the questions?
A pox upon your tricks and babble, old man. Answer me this. Who is Malek, and how can I defeat him?
All in time, Sirrah. Yes, time. Unless you master it, it will master you. And now it's time for your answer. Malek, defender of the Nine, and last of the Seraphim sorcerer priests. His vanity led to the slaughter of the Circle at the hands of the vampire Vorador. For his failing, his spirit was fused to a hellish set of magical armor. He has allowed no member of the Circle to fall since.
What of this Vorador?
Follow the glow of the Ignis Fatuous to the Termagant Forest.
Ignis Fatuous?
The Ignis Fatuous lights the path to hell, nobleman. Your path. Time, Kain? Next time.
Vorador tells of his attack on the Circle of Nine, and how he defeated Malek before he was condemned to his armour. Vorador gives Kain a ring that will summon him when the time is right.
In the bowels of that black forest, I found something worse than hell. A vision of what I was becoming.
It's not often I see one of our own, especially one as young and foolish as yourself. Nonetheless, drink. Drink deep and indulge your gift.
Gift? Vorador thought my curse a blessing. That we were gods. That mortals offered their blood as sacrifice so that we could enjoy our supernatural powers. And somewhere, deep inside my new self, I knew he was right. That mortal dreams were prayers. Prayers to us, begging us for power. I pondered this as the decadent old fool prattled on about his past. A boorish account of how he defeated Malek of the Seraphim and took his vengeance upon the Circle of Nine for supporting the Seraphim holy war to exterminate us.
Call your dogs! They can feast on your corpses! After slaughtering 6 of the sheep, I defeated their pathetic little shepherd, Malek. Since then, our kind has not bothered with the cattle except to feed. And I suggest you do the same. Meddling with the affairs of man can do us no good. Seraphan witch hunts are much too tedious to concern ourselves with. Am I understood, Kain? Good. Take this ring. If you ever need assistance, it will summon you. Despite your youthful arrogance, you amuse me, Kain. It would be such a pity to lose you to the abyss. Now be gone!
My visit with Vorador only strengthened my resolve. His power, uncontested by mortals, he had fallen to another enemy. Decadence has claimed itself many a great warrior.
Upon returning to the Pillars, Ariel tells Kain that some of the members of the Circle have made their way to Dark Eden, an area of nature twisted and perverted from their original designs.
Does your patience with the Seraphin grow thin, vampire? Dogs come only when their masters call. I believe some members of the Circle have banished themselves north. Perhaps Dark Eden is the snare you seek.
Ariel told me then that the easiest way to find Malek was to force his hand. The ward was sworn to defend the members of the Circle, and so if one of the Circle was threatened, Malek would appear to protect them. She spoke of an unholy union between 3 of the wizards of the Circle, and directed me to their Dark Eden.
Within Dark Eden, Kain finds the triumvirate of the Guardians. 2 stand to fight, but the last summons Malek to defend him. Kain calls forth his newfound ally, Vorador, as he pursues 2 of the Guardians.
Ah, not 1, but 3. Dejul the Energist, Bane the Druid, and Anacroth the Alchemist. How considerate of them to hasten my search.
So the Scourge of the Circle has arrived!
Fear him not, Bane. He is but a whelp. His soul is ours for the taking.
Don't be ridiculous, Malek. To our aid.
Damn you, Alchemist! I had not come this far only to have my quarry escape.
Vengeance. Vengeance for my eternity of suffering.
Whelp! As if you knew what eternity was! Grovel before your true master!
Never. I'll hack you from crotch to gizzard and feed what's left to your brides.
As Vorador clashed against Malek, I gave pursuit to the fleeing wizards, Dejul and Bane. I danced their dance. When the time came, they would dance upon my sword.
His magic is weak! He is an affront to nature itself! It is our duty to purify him!
Burn, wretched vampire! Burn!
Kain fells the 2 Guardians he pursued, Dejul the Energist, and Bane the Druid, and takes their offerings for their respective pillars. Returning, he finds Vorador has slain Malek, Guardian of Conflict, and takes his helm as an offering to the pillar. With 4 of the 9 pillars restored, Ariel tells Kain that he must seek out Azimuth, the Planer.
Be Victus!
The Ankler headdress had broken in the fight, but power still resided in its ivory form. The cloak was made from an alloy akin to lead, heavy and malleable, woven into fine links. The energy she controlled was stored in this garment. I found Malek's helmet amongst the scattered remnants of his armour, whole and intact. Vorador had finally laid his old adversary to rest. The helmet of Malek I placed before the Pillar of Conflict. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus it was restored. The act had taken on the feel of ritual. Isn't it strange how we must bribe our gods to stay? At the foot of the energy pillar, I set the cloak of Dejul. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus it was restored. The antler headdress of the druid bane I lay before the nature pillar. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus it was restored.
You must seek Azimuth the Planer at the heart of Avernus. 3 instruments await you to aid you in your quest. But first you must rise, and you must fall, and find your salvation in between.
Reaching Avernus, Kain finds the town under siege by demons. Azimuth herself had summoned. Kain makes his way to Azimuth, through the ruined city, to the cathedral at its heart.
Avernus consumed itself before my eyes. Avernus lay in ruins before me. Whatever hand slaughtered its people ravaged the city as well. The beast paused for a moment, drooling in anticipation of the fine meal he saw before him. To his disappointment, he would not find me such easy prey. I felt its eyes upon me, eager, hungry, as if it longed to rip my heart out and eat it before me as I died. I laughed as the onslaught began. Perhaps, when it was over, it would be the other way around. Avernus was a religious autocracy, with the cathedral as its dais of power. Though the city lay in ruins, the cathedral remained untouched. The demons knew better than to bite the hand that feeds them.
Within the cathedral, Kain finds and pillages the Soul Reaver.
Time fades even legend, and the origin of Soul Reaver has been lost long ago. But its purpose remains, to feed on the souls of any creature it strikes. Kindred, this blade and I.
Facing Azimuth the Planer, Kain defeats her and takes her third eye as an offering to the Pillar of Dimension. He also finds that she had a time-streaming device in her possession.
Ah, what's this? I had not even realized the blade and the raiment were here. You wear those trinkets well, Kain, but I do believe that they would look better on me.
The matriarch of Avernus, the Lady Azimuth. Her magical planing skills summon demons through runes inscribed in human blood.
Come to me, my children. We shall ravage Nosgoth together. So, little man, have they sent you to stop me? My children shall rip you apart. Come, my demons, let us sup on vampire blood.
For all her magic, the Lady Azimuth was little trouble. Once her demonic thralls had been dispatched, she fell quickly to my blade. Azimuth's third eye, a gift from the Pillar of Dimensions, allowed the planar sight into other realms. The pillar reclaims its own.
It will deliver you in time.
Returning the eye, Kain is told that there is a tyrant called Nemesis using his fanatic army to massacre all other civilizations from the map. The last chance against this horde is the Army of the Last Hope. This Army of the Last Hope was headed by King Ochtmar of Willendorf. Kain is told to rally this king and his army against Nemesis.
Before the Dimension Pillar, I lay the Eye of Azimuth. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored.
Well done. You have found Moebius's toy. Azimuth, not content with summoning demonic thrall, stole the time-streaming device in order to gather creatures from other ages as well. Take care of the device, Kain. It will deliver you in time. The legions of the Nemesis are on the march from the north, crushing all in their path. 'Twas not too long ago that the Nemesis was known as William the Just, a caring and gentle benefactor of the land. But as his army grew in strength, and he himself grew in power, the veil of tyranny fell, and one kingdom was not enough. So many cities, so many dead. Willendorf will be sure to follow. The Nemesis must be stopped, or all shall be lost.
How can one stop an army?
You must rally the forces of Willendorf. They are the last hope of Nosgoth.
The Spectre of Ariel led me to Willendorf. If I was to defeat the next member of the Circle, I needed to understand his machinations. With this vague advice in mind, I set forth on the road to Willendorf.
Martanius tells Kain that they must part ways, and that he can no longer provide aid to Kain's cause.
Strange, isn't it, Kain, that one cannot quite accept that which sustains him. You in your death, and me in mine. But death cannot reign in a world without life, and soon you will find the quest ahead of you is yours and yours alone. I can assist you no longer.
Reaching Willendorf, Kain learns that he needs a way to appear as a noble once more, as the soldiers of hope will not let him pass otherwise.
It would seem that only those of noble lineage were allowed to pass through the illustrious gates of Willendorf Castle, and the enchantment I had cast with my disguise was not enough to fool these soldiers of hope. I would need a stronger illusion to beguile them. Mighty Willendorf had sliced open the belly of the earth, reaping a bounty of precious metals and unearthing ancient secrets. Of these secrets, I had heard of a tomb that contained an ancient forefather of King Ochtmar himself. Within the tomb, a fountain of blood would allow me to cast the most noble of illusions and gain entry to the city of the mighty lion.
The blood of ages flows so sweet. Come, drink from us.
Unlike the Mask of Disguise, this spell actually allows me to cast away the guise of death for a time, allowing me to walk among the living undisturbed. The spell also provides a visage of nobility, for there are many who would easily divulge more to those of high-born blood.
Using this new guise, Kain makes his way to the court of King Ochtmar. Finding him in despair for his daughter has fallen into a coma, he said that if anyone could find a cure, they could claim ownership over his kingdom.
The court of King Ochtmar, shades of my former existence, proud and self-absorbed, surrounded by all the finery of the realm, secure in their ignorance. As I walked among them, I smirked, thinking of the carnage that would befall them at the hands of the legions of the Nemesis, the glorious flames, and the inevitable rape and pillage. Out of my way, peasant! The stench of the fields hangs over you like a pall.
The king sees no one. He is in mourning for the princess.
He'll be in mourning for his kingdom soon, and he'll mourn for you even sooner if you don't get out of my way!
Ooh!
And so I won my audience, such as it was, with Ochtmar. He cared not for the invading armies from the north, only of the plight of his child. Her
birthday present. To celebrate her birthday, I declared a contest. Whoever created the finest doll in the realm would be granted a royal favor. Hundreds of dolls were brought, but the winner was obvious. Elzevir the doll maker created a toy of such beauty that all were captivated by it. And all he would take in payment was a lock of her hair. Soon after, she became like this, a lifeless puppet. Whoever restores her to her former self shall have this kingdom.
Thus, my hunt for the dollmaker began.
My daughter. I fear I shall never hear her delicate laugh again. Oh.
Otmar slumped on his throne like a rag doll, his beard matted with tears of his own self-pity. In my court, he would have long since been usurped by one stronger, but in Willendorf they worshipped him, even in his weakness. I wondered what Willendorf would do when Otmar's death finally arrived.
Kain, hunting down the dollmaker Elzevir, locates his prey and reclaims the daughter's soul.
Elzevir! I have come for the soul!
So, Otmar sent you to kill me, eh? I can smell him on you. Or is that the stench of the grave?
Dollmaker, I have no time for these games.
The soul is mine! I earned it! Otmar gave it to me!
Then you shall earn it with blood.
You shall not have it! Mine! 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 Farewell, my love. I was lucky to have married you.
What an odd little man. Now, to find the soul. Elzevir imprisoned the girl's soul in a small fabric doll. The old man's intentions I shall never know.
Returning with the soul-trapped doll and Elzevir's head, Kain is offered his promised reward. Kain, however, did not wish for a kingdom, but instead demanded only that the king's army to face William the Nemesis on the field of battle.
I entered the court with the dollmaker's head in one hand and the doll containing the girl's soul in the other. I placed them both before the king and watched his eyes catch fire. With the doll in their possession, the court's sorcerers could restore his daughter's soul.
I do not know that I can thank you enough, warrior. My kingdom is but a small price to pay for my daughter's life. Willendorf is yours if you wish it.
'Tis not your kingdom I desire, but your army, Otmar. I require troops to vanquish the horde that descends upon us from the north.
Very well. Courtiers, fetch me my armour and mace. There is war to be waged!
The scourge of Nosgoth is upon us, friends. We shall die today as heroes, lest we live tomorrow as slaves. Ready thine arms for Nosgoth!
In the distance I saw the Nemesis armies march forward, a black tide that would soon wash over the armies of the Hope.
As Otmar is slain, the army of Hope was laid to ruin. No longer could they stand against the forces of Nemesis, and so Kain was forced to flee to the past before Nemesis was known as such, back to a time when the boy King William the Just still reigned.
Hey, victor!
The Nemesis and his horde fall upon us, my friend. I fear I can defend Nosgoth no longer. The Nemesis must be destroyed. For my daughter Kain. For the world. The tide turned with Otmar's death. I watched as the remaining survivors of the armies of Hope fled to the safety of the forest. The battle had decided its victor. The fate of Nosgoth now lay in the Nemesis' hands. At once the battlefield was gone. Where the ground was caked with blood and dirt, there was lush greenery. Where chaos reigned only moments before, this damning calm prevailed. Alas, it seemed I was stranded here. The time-streaming device lay in pieces at my feet.
Would you stand idle as vermin destroy your crops? No! As your house burned? No! Will you allow this evil to continue? No! Will the wickedness end? Yes! Do you believe? Yes! Yes! Then take me to your king, so that I can prepare you for the onslaught.
Ah, so it seemed I was in the land of William the Just. 50 years before the battle I had just escaped would take place.
Kain, learning of his presence in the past, decides the best course of action is to cut off the head of the horde before it is even formed. With this in mind, he makes out to kill the boy king, William the Just.
The stronghold of William the Just. 'Twas time for me to pay a visit to he who would become the Nemesis and force Nosgoth on its knees.
While within William's castle, he comes across Moebius the Timestreamer, talking to William as a youth.
Yes, these weapons you have provided will see to that. Pray tell, Moebius, what game do you play?
None, my lord. I only wish to aid you in vanquishing your foes. The weapons are but a token of my goodwill.
And the news you bring, a vampire said to slay me? Where did you come upon such knowledge?
'Tis of no consequence, sire. 'Twas only out of concern for your majesty's life.
Perhaps. Very well, then. You may leave me now, but should I wish to speak to you...
I will know, your majesty, and I shall be there in time.
Kain faces off against William the Just, armed with another Soul Reaver. Within the throne room, Kain finds another time-streaming device, akin to the one that brought him here. William's untimely end marks the death of the first observed timeline.
Ah, yes, the vampire. Moebius told me you would come.
As his guards rushed to save him, William the Just's blood was already renewing my strength, replacing the life his sword had stolen from my veins. The poor fools, come to aid their fallen leader. Let us have some amusement. A time-streaming device. Strange. When coincidence seems too convenient, I prefer to call it fate.
Kain returns to the future, rejoicing over his defeat of Moebius's plan.
With William the Just dead, Moebius's plans have been thwarted. His pawn was removed from the game.
Upon exploring Nosgoth further, Kain learns that the killing of William before he was known as a tyrant brought about a public hatred for vampires and a crusade against Kain's own kind.
I found myself once more in the Nosgoth I knew. The carnage from battle was gone. Yet there was something amiss. From the distance, I heard cries, and a breeze from the south carried with it the faint odour of vampire blood. 'Twould seem the folly fell upon my own shoulders. With their sainted King William dead by my hand, the people of the land were consumed by a hunger all their own, for vampire blood. As I wandered about more, the shrieking and cheering became more apparent and defined. There was some sort of gathering to the south, for with each cheer I smelled an outpour of blood.
Facing off against a new killer this timeline has birthed, the Vampire Hunter, Kain tells of their hypocrisy.
I make no pretense to justify my killing, yet these vampire hunters would cloak their bloodlust beneath a veil of righteousness. Hypocrites! They would make themselves judge and jury. Very well then, let us see how they take to my role as executioner.
Finding the source of the cheers and scents of blood, Kain finds the gallows where the vampires are being lined up for public slaughter.
Unholy scourge! Not yet, my friend. Would you be free of the plague if only one city was cleansed? No! Would you spare one wolf in the pack that has devastated your herd? No! Then let us destroy them all! Yeah! He is the last! Destroy him!
The crowd turns against Kain, but with ease he fends them off. A moment of realization strikes him.
The people will not rest until Nosgoth is purged of your kind.
I had been betrayed. In my haste I had not realized it before. That sigil on his forehead, the Oracle of Nosgoth, was in fact the Timestreamer Moebius, and I had followed his advice. How much of my quest was of his design? Willendorf? The Battle of the Last Stand? William the Just? Was this the trap he had fashioned for me?
We will send you back to the grave whence you came, vampire. I have seen the future, Kain. You are not in it.
Armed with the belief that Moebius the Timestreamer was manipulating him all along, Kain strikes out in pursuit of his revenge for Moebius's manipulation of him.
Let us call upon the puppets from the past! From the present! And from ages yet! Hey, Victus!
Ironic. By going back in time and altering the past, you turned William the Just into the Nemesis.
Aye, you have seen my plan, vampire, as I've seen your destiny. The future says you die.
But I am dead. As are you.
Retrieving the channel for the Pillar of Time from Moebius, Kain hears a familiar voice call to him. He is beckoned to the pillars for the grand finale.
I knew that Moebius's hourglass was the focus of his time-streaming magic. Farewell, sorcerer. The sands of time have ceased to flow for you.
Well done, Kain. Moebius did so love playing the trickster's part. His guise as the Oracle served his schemes well. Pity with all his plots he failed to plan for you. Come to me, my undead son. Make haste to the pillars. The stage is set for the grand finale. You will have your vengeance.
You betrayed us, Mortanius. You had Kain killed and turned him into a monster. You set him upon us.
It had to be. Nupraptors' insanity poisoned all of our minds. The Circle had failed in its sworn duties.
It had to be destroyed. Failed our duties? Idiot! The circle exists for us. We don't exist for it. Our powers will save or damn Nosgoth at our whim. Stand with us, Mortanius, or die.
Then I shall die.
If the circle is to be destroyed, you have to die as well, Necromancer. I admire your cunning, but you will not escape your fate.
Nay, I will embrace it. But my death will leave one more to take, Princeling. Finish me!
Mortanius, though accepting of its death, puts up a fight to the end, not quite trusting Kain to finish what he has started.
Play Victor!
You thought yourself a king, when in fact you were a pawn. You have served me well, Kain.
I serve no one.
Indeed, such narrow vision. Don't you see? My silencing of Ariel and its calculated repercussions is but the first act in my theater of Grand Guignol, of which you are the tragic hero. Play on, little vampire. Play on.
Fay Victus! Fay Victus!
Laying down the final offerings to the pillars, Kain learns that he is the final guardian that must be slain. Now a choice lay before Kain, to sacrifice all in service to Nosgoth, and restore the pillars, or rule over it as the one final voice in the dying world.
Anacroth's magic was contained within the metal of the scales, and would eventually be released back into the pillar from whence it came. The scales of Anacroth I lay before the Pillar of States. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored. The death orb of Mortanius had given the necromancer dominion over the grave. I had thought him the last of the circle, and yet he spoke of another. Before the Pillar of Death, I lay the orb of Mortanius. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored.
I am the last pillar, the only survivor of the Circle of Nine. At my whim, the world will be healed or damned. At my whim.
Kain refused the sacrifice.
Once I embraced my powers, I realized that Vorador was correct. We are gods. Dark gods. And it is our duty to thin the herd.